So I want to address this comment. White America used to be very much in favor of welfare, especially when they were the only ones who benefited from it. So when we think about food allowances and cash allowances, those were originally put into place in the 1935 Social Security Act. It was called the Aid to Families with Dependent Children. Now, the Social Security Act deliberately excluded certain classes of people from being able to get benefits. And among those, it excluded non-whites by adding the clause, domestic servants and agricultural workers could not get benefits. It added a clause where the states could determine if people in those positions deserve those benefits or not.
Welfare is a really interesting subject because on the one hand, we're familiar with the messaging to tear it down, but on the other, we know that welfare programs such as Medicaid and Medicare remain to be the most popular programs, Social Security, that the federal government has ever put forth. In fact, in 1935, the Social Security Act put forth these programs in response to the economic fallout of the Great Depression. But of course, at the time, those benefits were only for white Americans, primarily so. And in fact, the Southern Dixiecrats said that they'd rather their people starve instead of letting African Americans get any of these benefits. And so that type of messaging started to change about the benefits of welfare programs when the Civil Rights Act was passed, because then other people could have access to it. And now all of a sudden, they're getting our money. We're paying for the others. We're no longer just helping ourselves.
But the 1960s Civil Rights Acts changed that and made these benefits available to everyone. And suddenly, the messaging changed. So starting in the 1970s, we start seeing, we're building a nation of entitlement, a nation of people who think that they deserve things. And this is a complete flip-flop from earlier messaging. This is why when we changed it in the 90s,
and of course, after the Civil Rights Act, the tone and messaging on welfare began to change, especially when we came into the Ronald Reagan administration. We're all familiar with the term welfare queens and how those types of things started to really be pushed in the messaging to then take down social programs, because now it's a waste of money. Now it's fiscal irresponsibility. Now, of course, we're paying for the blacks and the Mexicans and the immigrants. And that's why that messaging is transferred into things like universal health care, free education, just the moocher attitude. If we give to people, it's going to make them weak. It's going to make them not want to work. It's going to make them want to sit at home and just mooch off of the government. When in reality, again, these welfare programs are created originally and still to this day to just help people get ahead. Because when you give people a leg up, when you help people get ahead just a little bit, typically most adults are going to be responsible enough to do things like go to work, because people want to live a life of purpose. People want to be fulfilled. People want to have an existence that means something. People, in fact, don't want to just sit around on the couch. And that's how the messaging has been flipped. If you're receiving welfare, if you're not white, then you're just lazy. But if you're white, it's because you just need some help. The way institutional racism has kept itself alive is by keeping resources and access to benefits segregated at all costs, whether that be from the very beginning to slavery, to then when that ended physical segregation, to then when that started to phase out things like redlining, to when that started to legally phase out. Now just zoning laws in general make it so that if you're not white and wealthy, it's pretty much impossible to live in areas where everybody wants to be, or at least if you're not wealthy. But wealth still typically overwhelmingly is within the white community. And so that's how those things are still set up. We see how the prison industrial complex works. We see the majority of people who are in there, even though whites and blacks and Latinos do and sell drugs at pretty much the exact same rate. We see the way the drug laws are set up, because who does coke and who does crack primarily. We see the ways that these things work. But fortunately for us, as technology continues to progress, as millennials and now Gen Z continue to move into positions of leadership, we have the opportunity to make societal welfare more popular, because at the end of the day, we know that we're not making people lazy. We're just making society more fair and equitable. And not just that, but making us more competitive on the world stage by removing things like debt, removing things like barriers to benefits and opportunities, so that people who have talent and have potential can actually participate in innovation and actually bring what God gave them to the world stage.